Good evening to all of you. Yeah, we are ready with yet another session of Avantika Connect, brought to you by Avantika University. Today we have none other than the Chancellor Sir of our university, Professor Sanjay Govind Dhande. So we will be introducing Dr. Saab to you very soon. In the meanwhile, I'll just tell you something about Avantika University, and there's a very good news also which I want to share with you all. Okay, so I am waiting a couple of minutes because participants are adding and adding. So we are getting more and more participants. So I'll take a couple of more seconds and then I will start. Okay, yes, we are ready to go, I think. Fine. So I will tell something about my university, which is Avantika University. The design-centric learning at Avantika is focused on what really matters in life of students and society. The Avantika model emphasizes student choice and voice, multidisciplinary learning, and societal impact coupled with a breadth of student experience outside the classroom, outside traditional discipline, and across the world. And here comes the term which we very proudly say, which is beyond academics. When I talk about beyond academics, which means a student get a chance to hone the communication skills, there are fellowship programs, there are mind skill training programs, vibrant student life, along with excellent sports facility. I would also like to share you a very wonderful and a very good news, especially at this time of the prevailing situation, where on a lighter side, it is not possible to get your hair cut. The business is down, fine, the layoffs are there, the salary cuts are there, and we at Avantika, I am repeating that we have got 100% internship placements for our students. That's actually a matter of pride for us. And we owe this success to our industry relation department. As much as 52 companies will witness our students doing internship at their end, and all these companies are high-end good companies, with 5 of our students placed in international companies, also one based out of Canada and one based out of London. So stay tuned with all the pages, whether it is Facebook pages or whether it is LinkedIn page or whether it is Twitter handle. Do subscribe Avantika University and you will get the entire detail out there. Okay, so as far as the format of this session is concerned, I will be asking 2 questions to the participants before I will introduce our speaker, esteemed speaker to you. So these questions will attract, of course, you all know, the gift voucher worth rupees 200. So the first question is, you all have to answer through the chat box which is given on your screen or under the Q&A section. So the first question goes, what is the full form of PDF? Okay, I'm getting the answers. What is the full form of PDF? Yes, that's right. Mudit is right. Yeah, I'm getting more and more answers and the time is now up. The second question is, name the brand which recycled ocean plastic into shoes. I'll repeat the question. Name the brand which recycled ocean plastic into shoes. Oh yes, Bihu is right. No, yes, is right again. Yeah, Somnath is again right. Fine. Fine, I think the time is up for that also. Now, let me introduce you to our Chancellor, Sir, Professor Dhande. Padma Shri, Professor Sanjay Govind Dhande is the former director of IIT. He has served as a member of the Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister of India. He has actively assisted the Government of India to craft the vision document for Indian Institute of Science for Education and Research at Pune and Kolkata. He has extensively worked in the field of CAD, which is computer aided design, rapid prototypes, rapid tooling, and reverse engineering. I welcome Dr. Dhande, sir, to join us. Thank you, Dhande, sir. Over to you, sir.
So thank you very much, and I hope I am audible to all the participants in this particular webinar. Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. This is a wonderful opportunity for me to get connected with Amit and his colleagues, as well as with all the prospective students of Avantika University. And in a very short span of time, I'm going to emphasize to you some of the things that are happening around you in the world as well as in the design area, so that you will become more tuned to what is the advantage of coming to Avantika and doing the design education at Avantika. And that is the reason why I chose the title as Modern Digital Approach to Design Education. You must understand that design education is changing very rapidly. And because of this coronavirus or COVID-19 situation, the future of the design education is going to further change. As a matter of fact, if you look at the history of design education, it started with the establishment of National Institute of Design in 60s, where Pupul Jaikar was very instrumental. She had gone to Bauhaus in Germany and came back and advised the then Prime Minister to start an institution similar to Bauhaus, and that is how NID in Ahmedabad came in. The second most important thing was the UNDP sponsored Industrial Design Center at IIT Bombay, which was somewhere in late 70s or early 80s. And again, it was a landmark event. And I would say that the first generation and the second generation, and then there were many departments that started in all the IITs and all the engineering colleges, and many people started the design departments or the design education. I must also mention that Shantiniketan University, or what is called as the Vishwa Bharati University, is probably still the finest institution of fine arts and design, and I still consider it to be the Gangotri of all the design education is nothing but Vishwa Bharati University. Also, there is a fine institution of fine arts at Banaras Hindu University and Baroda University. So these are some of the old establishments, but I still consider them to be very important. Then there was a phase where there was a massive expansion of National Institute of Design, and they went around the country and established branches of NID, NIFT, the fashion technology came along. At the same time, I must say that the private sector and the lead institution of MIT at the Institute of Design in Pune got established, which also has got earned name and fame as well. But the most important event to me is the design thinking at Stanford University. And this is something which I will talk a little more now. And I must say that the product has changed to systems, and today the designers are not required for designing a product. The designers are required for designing a system, and therefore it's not simply product design that is important, but it is the design thinking that is very important, and that has been promoted by the D School of Design University. And there is a company just across from Stanford University called IDEO. And if you go to the website of IDEO, you will find that even the company has established a university called IDEO University. And you will learn a lot from that particular website actually. A fine institution called Olin College of Engineering, which we are also associated with, is also very important because they are also promoting design thinking. And the first in the world, in some sense, you can call the Aalto University. Aalto was a very famous designer in Finland, And therefore, we must also understand that the Aalto University promotes the design as well as design thinking. And what I would like to say is that the first design thinking university in India is Avantika University. So you will find that why Avantika is important is because it is the first design thinking university. Now I'm sure all of you are interested in knowing what happens after 4 years. Where do I get a job? How do I make my living? Obviously, people are now very much concerned about the future. People are very much worried about how will happen. Jobs are getting reduced, and in this reduced circumstances, you will find that the only profession where the jobs are increasing and increasing more rapidly are the designers. So you will find that if you are a designer, and designer does not mean necessarily that you have to have a degree called BDes, but you have to be by spirit, by commitment, by your enthusiasm, by your professional zeal, you have to be a designer. Why designers are important? Because you will find that there are problems everywhere. There are problems and problems and problems. Whether it is the control of coronavirus or whether it is the control of the typhoon which is hitting right now on the Bay of Bengal, and therefore you will find that designers are required wherever there are problems, whether it is a specific problem or whether it's a systemic problem. You will find that people who are creative and people who have got ideas are more important. So solution thinkers, and simply thinking is not important. It's the implementation of the solution. So both the solution implementation and solution thinking, the training, the skills that we impart at Avantika will be related to solution thinking and solution implementation. And that's very important for us. I think, who is a designer? What kind of attributes are required? Just because your mom says or your dad says you want to become a designer, I would say that's a complete failure. You got to know that what a designer should be and what should be the spirit of a designer. And I have attributes that I have listed over here. The first and most important part is that you must be creative in your ideas. If you say, I got an idea, and that is where the designing work starts. If you don't have ideas, then you are not a good designer. And you may join other professions, but for the design profession, you must be flooding, you must be full of ideas. The second most important thing is that you must have empathy. Empathy for users is another very important attribute. If I say do something for those migrant laborers who are walking on the highways and who are walking on the streets, can you design a solution? You must have the empathy for people. You must have the empathy for users, and then only the solutions will come. Then only your zeal for implementation will come. You must also believe in implementation. Just pontificating is not design. You must work with your hands. You must implement something. You must create some back of the envelope solutions and implement them. The next important part is that you must be a user-centric in your thinking. If you think what is right and you want to force onto others, others will never buy it. You got to understand that you have to go under the skin of the user and start thinking. What we call it as the user-centric thinking is very important. There are many things, but I must say infinite optimism is very important. You should never get discouraged. You must understand that your solutions will be shot down, your designs will be thrown out, or you may not get the right appreciation for the efforts that you have put in, but still you must have infinite optimism in what you are doing. Also, you will find every design brings in a change, and therefore you must believe in change. How to design the change and how to bring the change is probably the greatest skill set that a designer is required. And that is what is very important in all the professions, whether it is management, whether it is law, whether it is administration, whether it is product design, whether it is engineering. You will find that you've got to understand how to design and how to implement the change, and you must believe in change. And you must have a philosophy the philosophical base is very important. You will find every successful world-class designer is ultimately a philosopher at the end. You look at every philosopher, every great artist, Le Corbusier, who designed the city of Chandigarh and who designed IIM Ahmedabad, he was ultimately a philosopher. Charles Correa, who was the famous architect and who designed many things, and he ultimately became a philosopher. And if you look at Leonardo da Vinci was a great designer, but ultimately a philosopher. So what is the philosophical base of a designer is very important, and you must never forget that ultimately a designer is a philosopher, and if you don't have the base of philosophy, you may not be a successful designer. Now the tools do change. Now whether it is a computer or no computer, whether it is the scalpel or whether it is the paint or a brush, or the tools may change, but the spirits of design will never change. So you must understand that the spirits of design are more important than the tools. Today, because of the coronavirus, because of several developments, we may use the digital tools, we may use the computing tools, we may use the computer as the tool, but you must understand the spirit of design and the tools of design are two distinct issues, and we must take them with proper perspective. I would say that the computing has become the most important cornerstone of our life, and therefore why computing base is very important, why digital base is important, because the digital base complements our practice of the physical. We call it as the atoms and bits. So atoms and bits have to be fused now. Only dealing with the bits is not sufficient. Only dealing with the atoms is not sufficient. We must deal with the atoms and bits together. And the other important aspect is that learning has become a collaborative learning environment. No longer you just sit in the library alone and then study and then solve some problems. And so long as you are good at numerical work, you may be good at the profession, the days are gone. Now you must understand collaborative learning environment are important. Visual exploration. A lot of people don't understand what is the visual thinking. A designer is a visual thinker. And if you are not a visual thinker, then you may not be a good designer. Also, the designer looks at the theory part, the experimental part, and the computational part and integrates it together. And therefore, a designer uses all the three techniques: computational, theoretical, as well as experimental. How it will be done, we can learn in these 4 years at Avantika. And the four important attributes that are required is you must do the ideation, and therefore your ideas are very important. Then integration, whether it is computing, whether it is electronics, whether it is mechanical, whether it is ceramics, whether it is wood, whether it is plastic, you will find that you got to integrate all these aspects, and then you have to implement it. It's not simply a paper and pencil solution, but it has to be converted into a solution in the physical world. And finally, the most important part is that your design must be sellable. Your design must be something which is accepted by the society. So you must develop a business track. You must develop the line of business, which we call it as the incubation. If you can sell your design, if you can create the design and make a business out of it, I think you are an extremely successful designer. And therefore we call it as the experiential design education. So you got to have the design education as an experience. It's not simply an ivory tower education, but it is an experiential design education. And society will respect you not simply for your knowledge, but for your skills. And therefore at Avantika, we try to develop both knowledge as well as the skills. Now you will find that the important part of my presentation here is to tell you that all the physical systems you will find deal with information. And therefore you will find there are three elements: man, world, and information. The word man is just a normer. I am not using it as a gender, but it is something like the human element. So you can say human element, the physical world, and the information. So bits and atoms have to be fused together by the humans. And this is what I call it as the information man and the world. And fortunately, very fortunately, because of digital communication and because the bits can now be transmitted in wireless form, you will find information goes from man to the world and world to the man in an extremely seamless fashion, and therefore communication becomes an important part as well. So you have got the man, the world, and the information. You will find there is a man information interaction, there is a man world interaction, and there is a information and world interaction. All these interactions very important. Earlier the man was dealing with the world directly and information was auxiliary, but now information is central, and therefore man is manipulating information and information is dealing with the world. So you will find, you go to the bank and you will find that the bank runs on a computer system. Earlier, the bank used to have the ledgers and the people will have to stand there for hours and be at the mercy of the clerks. All that is gone. Now you will find that you can even do the banking from home or you can do the banking from your mobile. Why? Because information is now central. Man is interacting with the financial world through information. So information also has been broken up into several components. The world is also a little world. There could be a physical world, there could be a financial world, there could be a design world, there could be an engineering world. So you will find that there are different elements of it. But ultimately you will find that embedding the intelligence into different components of the physical world. If you see that we nowadays, you have got a microwave, it's a smart microwave. If you have a washing machine, it's a smart washing machine. If you have a dishwasher, it's a smart dishwasher. So basically, you will find that within the physical system, you are embedding the intelligence or the computing or the artificial intelligence into that system, and therefore it becomes like a smart design. So tomorrow's designers are not only required to just design the dumb physical system, but they have to design the electronics, or they have to design what is the smartness that is required in those products or the systems. So the smart design is the future, not simply design, but you got to be a smart designer. So there are several components. The first thing is the modeling. You must be good at the art of modeling, and this is modeling based on computing. You will find that there is something called as a curve modeling, geometric modeling, surface modeling. The most important part is the solid modeling. You can design the solids now using the solid modeling, and probably the solid modeling changed the entire world of design in some sense. What is solid modeling? If you come to Avantika, we will teach you extensively, and you will learn more about solid modeling. But the art of modeling is the heart of any design work, and digital modeling is now the way to go forward. And we teach digital modeling at Avantika University. Now, the digital modeling also helps us in simulation. Today, you don't build a dam first, but you simulate the dam on the computer. You will find that every physical system, everything, if you are designing a broom, if you are designing a washing machine, you are not going to build it right away. You are going to simulate that washing machine first. So the art of simulation is another important skill that the designers will be required to accumulate in their modern digital design education. So the art of simulation is very important. You will find graphics, you find virtual reality. There are many elements of it. I won't go into the details of those details, but you must understand that the art of simulation is also what you will learn as a design education at Avantika. Analysis is also very important, and it's not simply the geometrical analysis. We need the visual analysis, we need the physical analysis, we need the social analysis. There are now a lot of products, there are a lot of systems. If you are designing a system, is it socially acceptable? Will it be socially good? And that is where important. You will find that the large expansions of the big cities are socially unstable. All of a sudden, the people are migrating out of the cities and going to the villages. What does it mean? That socially, the design of the urban systems was collapsing. The design of the urban system is not very healthy in India. There is a psychological aspect. There are many, many things that you can talk about in terms of psychological analysis that is required, whether it is for a product or whether it is for a system. You will find that if you don't take into account the psychological analysis, you will not be able to successfully make a design. Then there is a consumer analysis. Consumers have got idiosyncratic behavior, they have got idiosyncratic thinking. But you must understand that there is a certain amount of consumer thinking, and you must do the analysis keeping in mind that you are a consumer or how the consumer will think. Marketing, obviously, Amit can talk more about it than me, but marketing is a very important skill that is required, and even the designers will have to understand that how the marketing of their design solutions has to be done in the real world. If you don't know how to market your idea, you are no good designer. And there is an overall impact analysis. That is, how much is the impact of your design? There are a lot of good designs in the world, but they fall by the side because they have not made a big impact. There were many, many operating systems, but the DOS operating system created by Microsoft became the success. And today Microsoft products are the de facto standard of the PC revolution. Why? Because it has got an overall impact analysis of the highest order. So you must understand that an overview of the analysis in this form is required. There is also a technique of optimization. You must understand that when you design something, it may not be the right combination of the parameters or the system features that are required. So you keep on iterating, you keep on improving, you keep on changing it, and the goal of it is optimization. Optimization is in terms of balancing the objective as well as balancing the parameters. So you keep on fiddling around with the parameters till you find that your objective is obtained very successfully. Of course, there are some mathematical techniques, but the mathematical techniques apart, a designer is essentially a perpetual optimizer, because you keep on improving the design. Once the design works doesn't mean that the designer stops doing the work. In fact, the designer will keep on version 1, version 2, version 3, and all these versions are nothing but a journey for optimization. So the art of optimization is also very important. As I said, the geometric things are there, the curves, the surfaces, and the solids. No longer the mathematics is required, but you will find that the free form curves, free form surfaces that are required in many, many aspects of life will be told to you, and then we know how to handle all these different geometries. Visualization. Visualization has changed dramatically because of computers. Now you can have, I can show you a simulation of an apple, on the fresh apple, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, as to how it wrinkles. And all this is nothing but the computer effects. So the lights, the shadows, the color, the texture, all this can be manipulated using the computer. So the digital design education allows you to bring these effects in a very, very effective manner. And at the heart of it, there is something called as the view. And the view that you get, whether it is a perspective view or whether it is any other view, you will find that there is a concept of synthetic camera, and the synthetic camera view is very important. Again, at Avantika, we will teach you how the synthetic cameras are developed. And then there are two very important things. One is the virtual reality, and the other one is the augmented reality. So if you have to study at home, and if you have to design products, or if you have to design systems, you can put on your virtual reality gear and see how immersive feeling of your design will be without actually building the design. So this is again a part of simulation, but the hardware of virtual reality or the augmented reality software will allow you to go into a very different dimension of design. Again, it is possible because of the modern digital design education. And then the visualization will also help you in terms of getting across your ideas to the prospective clients, getting across your ideas to the prospective investors, getting across your ideas to all the people in the organization. So the visualization is a great communication and selling and marketing tool. The last but not the least important part which allows you to do is that designers will require now very tight control over the budgets, because the money in the world is shrinking and the resources are shrinking, and next 10 years you will see a very big problem related to the resources. And therefore project management, something which I feel is a part of the design education, that you must know how to do the project management, particularly efficient, successful, scientific project management has to be done. The financial aspects have to be taken into account. And the last point that I want to mention on this project management is that design is always, today design is always a team effort, and the teams can be located within the company in different places, or within the country at different locations, or within the world at different places. You may have one team in Pune, you may have another team in Boston, or you may have one team in Ujjain and another team in Tokyo, and they are working together on a design of a product or a design of a system. In such cases, project management is very important, because how to manage the teams which are located at different parts in the world, and how to make sure that the data is shared, the ideas are shared, the efforts are complementing each other. All this can happen because of various tools of project management. Once again, at Avantika, we will be able to tell you all this in a very successful manner. So integrating all these things, according to me, I have got this concept of a lab, which is a workstation. A workstation can be developed at home, which is a hardware cum software workstation. We can talk about it once you join Avantika, and I will give you more details about my lab concept. The lab is nothing but a workstation which you can develop at home, which will be hardware and software based workstation. So even if you don't come to Avantika for a month or so, you can still work at home. Obviously, some investments will be required, and education will not simply be just paying your fees, but you must invest in becoming a professional, and the professional approach to education will require you to develop a lab at home. So finally, I would like to say that design education is changing very rapidly from products to systems. We are moving from products to system. Today, you may become a Bachelor of Design and get a job in manufacturing, get a job in administration, get a job in management, get a job anywhere in the whole real world. And that is the beauty of a degree called Bachelor of Design. And therefore, you must move away from products to systems. Also, the tools which are available from the computing or the computer-based tools have to be integrated in your education. And that is what is very important. We do that at Avantika very strongly. And the third most important part is that it is not simply designing in the traditional way, but we are trying to imbibe in you design thinking. The most important element is design thinking, and not just the technique of design. And finally, it is the change and the management of the change, and the designers always handle the change. But the most important place where the change happens is from within. You must change. If you change, the rest of the world will change. And therefore, start right now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you indeed very much. The flow of information was so seamless that I could not dare to inform you that the slide was stuck on slide 1 itself. It was mesmerizing, sir. You explained it so beautifully. Even the attendees have not noticed it. One of the attendees did mention that the slide is not moving, but I think everybody was so mesmerized, and they are giving compliments also. They are sharing their inputs also. I'll share one of the question also I would like to take. This is from Brito Augustus. He is asking, I have read this book called Change by Design by Tim Brown. Reading that gave me a lot of insight into design industry. Can you suggest some books for designers?
Oh yeah, I think this book, somebody has mentioned about the Change by Design by Tim Brown.
Yes.
That is a very famous book. But you know, the Tom Kelly is the name of the author. Kelley. Tom Kelly has got many books. But the Creative Intelligence is the book which is very famous. And you just go for the IDEO company or the design school at Stanford University, and you will find many books. But Creative Intelligence by Tom Kelly and David Kelly, these are the two brothers who are designers. Tom and David Kelly's books, all the books are very good. Somebody has mentioned about Adidas and Reebok. Both of them are, particularly I remember Adidas as case study. They have applied design thinking to their design practices.
Okay. Sir, allow me to ask you a few questions which I have jotted down. The first one is, there is a massive shift in learning and skill development of the students across universities. Can you elaborate on this new change?
Say it again.
There is a massive shift in learning and skill development of the students.
I think I feel that the failure of the formal learning process is the skill development is becoming so important. According to me, any learning without skill development is zero learning. If you look at the old Gurukul system, if you say you have learned archery, and if you don't know how to put the arrow in the bow and then pull the string, then what the heck you have learned? It's like I had once this experience of somebody who was a teacher of fluid mechanics and didn't know how to swim. So I said, you teach fluid mechanics and you don't know how to swim. So obviously, just understanding or learning is no good. Skills and learning go hand in hand. According to me, why skills are becoming important is because the failure of learning, not giving the skills, is becoming the problem. So that learning which doesn't impart skills is zero learning.
Okay, thank you, sir. With this, I will be asking few questions to Chancellor, sir. Meanwhile, it's a request to all the attendees that they can also shoot their questions. So I will be reading.
So I think there is a question here. If you allow me, I will repeat the question.
Sure, you can take it, sir. Sure, you can take it.
It's on the screen here. Yeah. It says, what is the difference between studying at MIT ID and Avantika? So according to me, the tools and techniques based learning was at MIT ID, and the systems approach and the design thinking approach is at Avantika. It doesn't mean that we don't teach the tools and techniques, or it doesn't mean that the systems approach is not taught at MIT ID, but it is a question of what is at the front and what is at the back. The front is the tools and techniques and the back is the design thinking. Here the front is the design thinking and the systems approach, and the back is the tools and techniques.
Okay. So I think Abhay Bharadwaj has got the answer. It was Abhay who asked this question. Sir, my next question would be, why is there a surge in liberal and creative based education courses?
Why is
there a surge in liberal and creative based education courses?
I would say that education is going through very big change now, and it has been found that the professional education has become very static or analysis oriented. The creativity is gone, and therefore it is very important that we change professional education particularly, and generalist versus specialist is another discussion, but essentially what I feel is that a person should get the basic skills and then specialize in something. Don't get infatuated with a specialization according to me, becoming a jack of all trades is very important before you become the master of something, actually.
Okay. Sir, how is digital technology transforming design education? How is digital
Well, that is
technology?
what I explained that to through my slides. If you go over the slides, you will find that I have said many things that design education requires the art of modeling, the art of simulation, the art of optimization, the art of project management. All these things are now happening mainly because of the availability of computers, and therefore the whole idea that bits and atoms have to be fused together in education, and that is what the modern design education using digital platform is actually.
Okay, I'll pick up one question from attendees. This is Saryu. How do you compare design education with new liberal art education?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I would say that the liberal arts education is the foundation for design education. As a matter of fact, the professional you need to be in a professional education. So the design element or the to becoming a designer is the professional education. Now liberal arts will be very good for your enlightenment, but may not be good for your empowerment, and therefore we say that the foundation of liberal arts will make a designer a very good designer. So a designer without the liberal arts sprinkling will not be good, and a liberal arts person without the design background will not be able to earn a living actually. He may be an enlightened individual, but will not be able to earn a living actually. So both are important, but I would say that there is a ground floor and there is a first floor. Liberal arts is the ground floor, the first floor is the design.
Very well explained, sir. Okay, sir, Brito is again asking one thing that I am very passionate about is storytelling, and I wanted to go to animation design. I tried hard to get into MIT since they offer animation course, but unfortunately I was not selected into MIT, but I got into Avantika. What course would be best at Avantika University for a storyteller? So he
So I
specifically.
think I would like to advise this person that getting the stickers on your body or on your biodata is not the goal. You may be at Avantika or you may be at MIT ID. If you are interested in animation, if you are interested in storytelling, be that immediately. And whatever is required to be done, we can do it at Avantika, and we can help you specialize in all these aspects in some sense. But to say that I didn't get it, hence I must now be very depressed, that is nonsense. According to me, a person who is passionate about something will get it wherever it is possible. Why Avantika? Why MIT ID? I will shoot for Stanford University. He should really target Stanford University as his next stop. And therefore, the wide world is open, and coronavirus has made the world into a very small, one single entity. So don't worry about these divisions of MIT ID and Avantika or whatever. The divisions is in your mind. They are not there physically. And therefore, be passionate about storytelling. I like that. Be passionate about animation. I like that. Can you do the storytelling with animation? Yes, you can do that. Start working on it, and whatever help is required, just tell us. We are there to help you. So I don't see any difference between MIT idea or Avantika. This dichotomy has to be buried 10 feet below the earth, actually. Sort of.
Sir, I will just want to take this from Pearl Patel. She is saying, sir, your speech and answers were amazing, and I loved this session and hearing you. I am thankful to Avantika to give us this chance. She is also asking, does Avantika give the students chance to study on SAM abroad or do internship abroad. So I think I will be able to answer to you, Pearl.
Yeah, yeah.
That
Please go ahead.
yes, the internship programs. In fact, 5 of our students have been selected for internship placement abroad only in London and Canada. And thank you for your acknowledgement. We will continue giving you good sessions from Avantika Connect going forward. Sir, I will take the next question. And Shreya Arora has asked, which designing stream is best as per the today's market demand?
I refuse to buy in such questions. These are all absolutely nonsensical questions. According to me, the market changes every day, the market changes every month, the market changes every season. So obviously, by the time you graduate, the market may be completely different. So this is not the way to select. If you select based on the market conditions, you may be completely wrong in selection. I think the person has to check the you look yourself, you look inside you and find out what you like, what you don't like, what you feel passionate about it, and go for it. Even if the world doesn't like it today. I remember there were some people who did Sanskrit as their specialization, and believe it or not, they did extremely well later on. In fact, some of them went to Harvard University because Harvard University wanted to know who are the specialists in Sanskrit. So at that time when we were in the college, everybody thought that they are fools, they are getting specialization in Sanskrit. But ultimately they became the smartest of all the people. So you must know what is your passion and go after it. Don't go because of the market forces. I don't agree with that actually. So the question was what? I will still look at the question in the sense, what were the areas that you mentioned, Amit?
Designing stream best for today's market demand.
So all the streams are good. All the streams are good. And according to me, the market demand may change within 3 months. God knows what will happen. So it's very difficult to say. According to me, all the streams are good. You must select based on your passion, based on what you feel you want to do. If you don't feel, then there is something wrong with you.
Very inspiring and motivating, sir. Sir, as the Chancellor of Avantika University, what is your vision for this university?
So this, as I said, that our vision has been that this should be a seat of learning for creative ideas and translating creative ideas into some sort of implementable. So we are the torch bearers of change, and therefore the faculty and the students should become very different, should become very committed, should become self-motivated. And therefore the self-motivation, if I can say that the students are self-motivated by the time they graduate, I think Avantika has done its job.
Thank you, sir. I think we have some faculties also as attendees. Dr. M. Ganpati Murugan is asking, what is your opinion for the young teachers who is working in this field?
So I think teaching is a very noble profession. It is not based on the salary. It is not based on the fact that you have given teaching assignment. It's a 24/7 profession. And if you like, if you enjoy teaching, then you must be committed to the students. If you feel that some students will remember you for life after they graduate, then you are a good teacher.
Okay. Sir, Samarjit is asking, can you elaborate on few tools and techniques which is specific to Avantika University?
I think, see, Avantika is a story in the making, and therefore the tools and techniques, it's a fusion of many things, and it is based on the experience that MIT group has got over the years in different institutions. So I would say that as a university, the goal is to make it as a design thinking university. And that is the goal that we are achieving, or we are trying to. Now, what is design thinking? Whether all the faculty members are committed to design thinking, whether all the people understand design thinking or not. These are the questions which are, as I said there, these are the questions which are evolving, the answers are evolving, and people are trying to find out the answers in some sense. So ask this question to me when Avantika has existed for 10 years, and then it will be more transparent question. Today it is a question in the making actually, or the answer is in the making. But people are trying to develop Avantika as a design thinking university.
Indeed, sir, indeed. And with that, I would like to express my gratitude to you, sir, for your time, for your words of wisdom, for a wonderful presentation which you have given, for the advice you have given to young aspirants. Thank you very much, sir. I will be continuing with the participants for a few more minutes before we end this session. Thank you once again, sir.
Thank you. And I will now sign off and leave the meeting, I suppose.
You can stay for 2 minutes as you wish, sir. It's up to you, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
So here we are. The next round of 2 questions are still remaining, which I'm going to ask you. This would again attract to the gift voucher. I'm sorry. So the question is, range of colors used in the design is commonly in design term is known as what? I'll repeat the question. Range of colors used in the design is commonly in design term is known as what? Okay, I'm starting getting the responses also. Okay, some of them are right, some of them are wrong also. No, no, yes, yes. Okay, so the time for the last question. It is Gestalt's principles. Gestalt's principles cannot be applied in UX. This is a true statement or a false statement. You just have to write either true or false. Gestalt's principle cannot be applied in UX. Is it a false statement or it's a true statement? Oh my God. So we are jumbled up with false and true. Flooding on the screen. Okay, with that, I think I should end this session. Thank you very much for attending this session. We will be back soon next Saturday with yet another powerful speaker under Avantika Connect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.